The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Hosted by me, Carl B. Phillips, Uncle Carl.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Get ready for another great conversation on the Carl B. Phillips Show.
So I think you bring up a good point, because a lot of times the old heads talk about how you took the best singer from the choir to make the praise team, and now they feel kind of like they're like the elite singers of the church.
Uh-huh.
What do you suggest to kind of keep the worship leaders, the praise team, in a place of humility so that they can continue to usher in the presence of God?
At this juncture, especially where one of the things that I talk about in the book is that because praise and worship has become such a thing in the church and in the church culture, as it is in any culture, the most important parts of a culture, or the most celebrated parts of a culture, whoever is responsible for maintaining those parts become the most celebrated in those communities. And so it is in our culture now that those who are responsible for maintaining praise and worship, or leading it, or carrying it out, they become the most celebrated.
Right.
They become the virtual rock stars. Some of them, if they do it well, become stars of sorts. And so they have to remember that, again, it is not, however effective you are in your role, it is not because you're so wonderful.
Right.
It is you're only reflecting what you see. So if you see nothing, if you have no revelation of who God is, if you're not looking at him, then you have no story to tell. If you're not an eyewitness, you can't testify. Right? And so it becomes vitally important that we stay in a position where we're constantly studying his face, studying his presence, and remembering that we don't have a microphone because of our extraordinary gifting. It's because of his choosing, and if he should lift his hand, what we'll offer will be empty.
I love talking to you, but I'm going to go to another random question right now.
Okay.
When you're making a sandwich, what is your favorite sandwich, and what ingredients do you like on the sandwich?
My favorite sandwich might be, and it's the first thing that came to my mind, so I'm going to go with it. I think my favorite sandwich just might be a grilled scrambled egg and cheese.
Grilled scrambled? I've never heard of that. Is that a Southern thing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's Southern, because, it's like a grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese with a fried egg on it.
With scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs, okay.
In there as well.
I've heard of grilled cheese sandwiches, but never scrambled. So if I come down to Columbus, Georgia, I better get ready for a grilled cheese sandwich.
Like grilled egg and grilled cheese with ham, or grilled ham and cheese, or grilled scrambled egg and cheese. So like if you go to, I think Denny's has stuff like this. But I think that might be one of my favorites. And then I love a good veggie sandwich.
Are you like a veggie wrap, or
no, but just a good bread, like an artisan, I don't know, with good nice good bread, with like the zucchini and portobello mushrooms and red peppers and all that kind of stuff.
All that healthy stuff.
Yeah, I love one of those. Yeah.
Let's talk about No Reason to Fear.
Yeah.
You released it in 2016.
I did.
And then J.J. Hairston heard it and recorded it.
Picked it up
About the
this
relationship in
2017.
2017. How
Hmm.
did that collaboration happen? How did JJ hear the song and decide to record it?
I don't know how he heard it. I mean, I guess um I think I think it was on I think it had made it to Sirius
Okay.
by I released at the beginning of 2016. By the summer, I think by the late summer of 2016, I think it was on Sirius by then. So, maybe it was making its rounds that way. And I'm trying to remember if um that year might have been Jonathan Nelson called me and asked me if he, for permission to teach it to his praise team, and he was in Florida at the time, serving in South Florida at the time, and so it was making its rounds. It was, of course, when he did it and posted it, he would post, clips of praise and worship, and it went viral. It was, going crazy. The clips that he shared of their praise and worship, their worship experience with using the song. So I don't know. It might have, it might have been through some of that JJ heard it, and then so they started messing around with it, put another spin on it, and so we have that version.
JJ, I was in a seminar and he talked about how a lot of times he puts kind of like a house where you add addition and garages. That's his thing. add a garage to a song.
Yeah,
Off of your new project, My Heart Is Towards You, my
yeah.
favorite song is Father of Lights. So
Is it?
I'm gonna I was thinking this before the interview. I'm gonna give you a challenge to do a mashup of No Reason to Fear and Father of Lights.
That would be amazing.
Because I'm hearing I have no reason to fear Father of Lights. It was just flowing together out of
Yes,
nowhere.
yes.
So I'm like, that would be because you're talking about light in both of them, but to hear a mashup of those two songs, I'm like, that would be crazy.
Yes, yes. It
Yeah.
was.
You may have to go do a remix for Uncle Carl.
I might have to.
Let's talk again about My Heart Is Toward You. You worked with one of the leading producers, Dana Sorey. Did I get his last name right? Sorey?
Saray.
Sorey.
Saray.
What is it like working with Dana, and how did he help you to capture the vision for the project?
It was delightful working with Dana. He's just a very kind and loving guy, family man, loves his wife and his daughter, and just loves people. And when he's working with an artist, if he doesn't already know them, he's very intentional about getting to know them, getting to know their family, just kind of getting to know them, getting a feel for what they want to do, um, what their actual vision is. And he takes it. And I heard somebody say, I think it was Jason that said Friday night, because he produced Jason's as well. I think it was Jason that said Friday night, you give Dana an idea and he'll make it music,
Wow.
you know? And he's full of music. He really is. And just, he hears something and he'll go with it. He'll be in there with a shaker. If he needs to hear the beat, he'll be in there with a shaker, playing it over and over and over until you can imagine all the things he wants to hear in there. And it was delightful. It was delightful working with him, and hearing it all come together. And then he just loves God. He's a worshiper, and when it hits right, he'll have to, he'll stop and just honor God. So we had some wonderful times of just, stopping and honoring God, praising God for what he had done. So
When people listen to My Heart Is Toward You, what type of musical journey do you want to take them on?
I think all just kind of experiencing all the layers and colors of a love relationship with God. Um, the for My Heart Is Toward You, for that album, I think people hear um, all of the sides of me.
Mm.
The kind of an old school where I came from, the era I came up in, the Andre Crouch Hawkins era. Um, the album starts with "Oh Jesus," and you
Yes,
know it
yes.
gives you an Andre Hawkins era kind of a, you know, kind of a vibe. So it gives you kind of gives you a little bit of an old school choir vibe, contemporary choir vibe, you know. Um, and then, you know, the moments where when you're in the journey, trusting God, and the worship moments, the worship that's influenced My Heart Is Toward You, the title cut, um, that started with an idea by my son, Christopher, or Mike Grizzly. And the track was just his worship. And I said, son, I love that. I need that. I want to write to that. And so I did. And when I hear it, the very beginning of it, I was face to face with my influence, with the influence that I experienced from Amy Grant, and those girls back in the 70s. Amy Grant, Sandy Patty, those guys. I hear that influence. Amy Grant, Karen Carpenter. I hear that
Wow.
when I hear that song. So all of the shades and colors that shaped me, all of the sounds, the musical influences that shaped me. Another why, um, you know, is a little funky. You know, it's gonna give you, you know. Um, and Dana brought it. By the time he got through bringing in all the boys, I said, Dana, you kind of sound like Michael Jackson. Every time while they were working on it, I kept going. But you have that one, and of course, Father of Lights. So you have you. It just takes you just kind of um, je- um, ever so gradually, you know, increasing like up a hill, but kind of taking you through my life and all of the influences, um, musical influences on me, and then my worship moments. Song in My Heart is one of my favorites, because it was one that I would just sit at the piano and play, by myself. Just, you know, I loved to play it and sing it by myself, and so I think it translates when I sing it, especially when I sing it live, and it's just dear to my heart. And then stuff like Exalted is just my worship that came out of a time of worship, and so it really is a journey.
So speaking of journey, I started listening to this project by John Paul McGee, and then
Yes,
all of a sudden I'm hearing my auntie sister. And then recently I'm looking online and she's singing these low notes and engagement. Talk about working with John.
It really is a God thing. It really is a God thing, a God kind of synergy, and I really don't even I don't even know what to we are in awe every time we work together. We both go, I don't even know what just happened. I don't know what just what is that? And we were talking. We said we got to take this on the road. We got to do something because people
Yes.
need to experience it live, because it's what happens live. It's in on my album Exalted. That's him on the piano,
Mm.
on that last track, and we were in the studio together, and it's just a flow. It's a duet. It's a dance of sorts that happens. And John Paul is a singer. He's a brilliant singer as well. And but he we did a project together some years ago. I did a hymns project, and um, we did it. It was raw. I didn't want any overdubs or anything. I wanted it to feel like worship and prayer. And so we went in the studio about 3 hours and just went from him to him, worshiping and praying. And he could not see me.
Wow.
He was sitting The piano, I could look out, I could lean over out of the booth and see him on the piano, but where it was sitting, he couldn't see me. He had to just listen. He had his cans on, and he just listened to my voice and played.
Wow.
Um, and so the sensitivity that he had to have was extraordinary. And it's just, it's because he is such a brilliant musician. I mean, he really, I'm sure he was a prodigy as a kid. He's just a brilliant musician, and it's just, I think the thing is, when I'm working with him, there's just this freedom, because I know that wherever I go, he's got it. I can kind of go wherever I want. So I'm free to imagine, free to dream and sing sing whatever I hear, because he can follow it. He'll find it and make it work.
Well, like I told you when they first came out, I fell in love with "Here's to Life." That is one of my favorites off of that project. The whole project is great that he does,
Yes.
but that one, I'm like, okay, Auntie Sister showing that I can do more than just sing praise and worship. I got some things to buy. It has been such a pleasure hanging out with you today. How can people connect with you? How can they follow you on social media? How can they get your music?
They can follow me on Facebook at Wendi Henderson Wyatt Music. It's my artist page. You can follow that one, and um, on Wendi Henderson Wyatt on Facebook. Wendi with an I, always Wendi. And then on Instagram, Wendi H. Wyatt. And on Twitter or X,
Right.
Wendi H. Wyatt. And TikTok, Wendi H. Wyatt 21, I believe. I post some performance things every now and then on TikTok. But what has really blown up on TikTok is my vocal coaching vocal tips and techniques. Those videos, the vocal challenges and things like that. Those are the things that really go wild over there.
So, I know we're about to wrap up, but I'm like, my friend is an influencer on social media. Those vocal like when you did Mike Grizzly's challenge, people went crazy over it.
They did. I was so shocked. I was so shocked. I was so nervous to do it. I didn't want to embarrass him or do anything corny. I was like, with my vintage sound, I didn't want to do anything.
But people loved it.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the young people that were just losing it, over there. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, God, this is really something.
God is allowing you to reach a whole different generation through TikTok.
He is.
I have loved this conversation, and I can't wait till we can get together and hang out again. We were in London hanging out the last time we saw each other.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I missed you in Vegas because I think you sang Thursday night, if I remember correctly.
I did at the Monarch event.
Yeah. I was supposed to get in about 10 o'clock that Friday morning. My flight got delayed, so I didn't get in until 8, 9 o'clock that night. But we definitely got to connect in the future because y'all family. And
absolutely.
I'm going to quote one other thing you said, and I'm going to have to make this happen. You posted a couple of years ago that you always wanted to have a house that people could feel comfortable to come to on the holiday. You remember saying that?
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to find a holiday to come hang out with the Wyatt.
That would be awesome.
As we wrap up, any final words you'd like to have to encourage someone?
Oh gosh, I think my standard. This often comes up for me as a final word of encouragement is to just stay in the presence of God and stay there until you are clear about who He has called you to be and what He is calling you to release, what sound He's calling you to release. Understanding that we are all, by the hand of God, given a unique and distinct sound, and we are responsible for our own sound. We're responsible, and every one of us, there is a space in the atmosphere that is reserved for our sound. And while we mimic other people, we leave the space that is assigned to us vacant. And so it becomes vitally important that we settle into what God said about us and release what he's called us to release. Let him perfect in us what needs to be perfected, and then release the sound that pleases him. Those who are called to it will hear it and will rally around it and celebrate it. And, it will impact the lives of those that it's called to. So if you haven't, if you've not come to the place that your sound is celebrated yet, perhaps you have not found your space yet. Just keep singing, keep pressing until when your sound is clear, those who are assigned to it will hear it and they will come to it.
I'm going to hide that one in my heart. When your sound is clear. Thank you so much again. Everybody, I am Carl B. Phillips, talking with my friend, my auntie sister, Wendi Henderson Wyatt. This is the Carl B. Phillips Show. Just a reminder to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one's watching you. God bless until we meet again.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Thank you for listening to the Carl B. Phillips Show. For more information, go to carlbphillips.com.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Follow Carl B. Phillips on Instagram so we can stay in contact with each other.